Hello everyone, it's Mike. Time for another video. As part of my therapy to get through chemo, one of my philosophies for getting through this was I was going to do everything that I would normally do, and then if I couldn't do it, I would just make adjustments. So um, when I had the chance to go to beautiful Carlsbad, California, which is where I'm at now at the Chopra Center with my gorgeous soon-to-be wife, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to do this women's seminar, in Carlsbad. If you want, you can come with me. Just hang out in Carlsbad all day, and then we'll hang out and do what we do at night." I said, "Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm sold." She's not much of a salesperson, but she got me on that one. I have to be a moron not to do this, so I am here. I'm on location, and it got me thinking of a couple of things. I work in an industry in timeshare where it's very easy to tell if a couple is truly happy by one thing. And the one thing I've noticed for almost 20 years talking to couples is that the ones that are really happy travel. They go on vacation. It seems to be a common thread with every single couple that I have ever talked to that seems happy. So Sarah and I have now been together for about 6 months, and this is our second trip. The first one was a few months ago, and in addition to this one, they seem to start off with a little humor. We uh, we were going out for about 2 months, and we went back home to my hometown of San Francisco to visit with my mom, and it was her and I and little Desi, who was about 8 months old. And we got to the airport at McCarran International. And there was a little foreign guy behind the counter. And with a dead straight face, he looked at us when we were checking in. And he looked at little Desi and he said, "Will you be bringing the baby back with you?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "The baby. Are you going to be returning with the baby?" I said, "Gee, I don't know. I mean, I had only known Desi a couple months then, but I was pretty attached. I think her mom was very attached. So I said, "Yes, we will be returning with the baby. Is this a normal question?" And so we went back and forth for a while, and Sarah asked me very kindly to not make fun of the guy while we were still checking in. I couldn't help myself because it's a pretty funny question, and I think part of my recovery is going to be helpful with my sense of humor. And a few months later, now we're in Carlsbad. It was a close to 5 hour drive to get here, and we end up at this Chopra Center, which is I wish you could see it. It's a beautiful place. And when we checked in, the lady behind the counter handed us a map, and she kind of pointed like, "All right, here's where you are, and your room is right over here. No problem." Well, Sarah and I, we've been on the road for 5 hours. We haven't eaten much. We were both starving, and finding this room was some type of exercise. Here, I'll show you what I mean. This is the map they gave us, and the lady's like, "You're right here, and then you walk down here, and then your room's right there." I mean, make it simple. Yeah, I had to run down a guy named Virgilio or Alessandro or something cool like that, and he was driving around in a golf cart. And if it wasn't for him, we would have not yet checked into our room, and we've been here for a day. So it's been entertaining. And last night, uh, I was talking with Sarah, and there seems to be some misconception about why I got cancer and why I'm having to go through chemotherapy. And I wanted to clear the air. We both thought I should clear the air. So I think a lot of people seeing this are going to think I'm one of those fitness guys that was always freaking tan. And my obsession with being tan had to do with workout related stuff. You know, you look better when you're tan, you look leaner, you look more muscular. But In reality, uh, I could care less if my body was tan. My obsession with being tan is actually based on insecurity. And the title of this video is Insecurity Can Kill You. And it goes back to when I was a kid. When I was 13, 14 years old, I had really, really bad skin. And most people do. You know, you go through puberty and your skin starts breaking out. But with me, it had a worse effect because I think a lot of people are insecure about the way they look. They wish they looked like someone else. You know, they wish they looked like they had this person's face or this person's body, or I wish I had that person's nose or that person's lips. And for me, I never, ever for 1 second wanted to look like anyone else. I just wanted to look the best me that I could look like. And I think that's where my insecurity was, because at times I would look normal and I would be exceptionally pleased with what I looked like. I was a confident kid, you know, I was good at sports, and that's pretty much my whole identity was sports. But probably started when I was 13, 14 years old, and I played organized football for the first time when I was 14, when I was a freshman in high school. And when you combine a kid whose skin's breaking out with the, you know, daily grind of putting on a football helmet, it's a recipe for disaster. And my parents were actually really good about it. My mom used to take me to different dermatologists. We would go to some place downtown San Francisco, some high-end dermatology place, and they would give you creams and they would give you pills, and nothing worked. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. Something worked. When I was a kid, I was a member of a club in San Francisco that's still there today by name only. It's called the Olympic Club. And the Olympic Club was just this amazing fitness sports facility. And at the Olympic Club, even in the 80s, they had tanning beds. And I figured something out. I think when I was 14, I went to a summer football camp. And when I went to the camp, my skin was just a disaster. But it was out in like Sacramento somewhere where it was really hot. It was a lot hotter than San Francisco. And when I wasn't at football, we were, hanging out in the sun. And the sun, within a day or two, just dried up my skin and, made it look great. And I was like, this is awesome. I don't need dermatologists. I just need to stay tan. So that's kind of where it started. I would go to the Olympic Club in San Francisco, and every day I'd work out, go play ball for hours and hours. And before I left, I'd hit the tanning bed. And it had nothing to do with tanning the rest of me. It had to do with drying up my skin. That type of insecurity is brutal at that age. And this continued on throughout my 20s, my 30s, and up until I was diagnosed with cancer at age 40. So I wanted to clear the air that, my obsession with being tan had nothing to do with fitness stuff. It had everything to do with insecurity. Everybody suffers it. But the point I'm trying to make is that being insecure to a certain point can be extremely damaging. And I'm learning now, especially being with Sarah, that you got to love yourself. You got to love who you are, and that's with the good and the bad. And if you don't, it causes a lot of problems. And it's almost too good to be true to be with someone like her that doesn't seem to care about what I look like. She doesn't care about all this. She just loves me, and it's almost hard to believe. So I've never experienced this before. I try to enjoy it every day for as long as I can, and hopefully for a long, long time. But if there's any message to this, you got to love yourself first. Thanks.